live is what happens, hopefully, usually. Today, of course, I'm joined by my usual co-conspirator, Pim, Queen of Pirates, Mother of Puppies, the Unpoked. What else are you? All things to all people.
Monday.com is the best way we found working together.
Mute the stream. There you go. Right,
but
welcome to the show.
It just takes forever before it goes live.
Welcome to the show. Welcome if this is your first ride on the crazy train. The rules are keep your arms and legs inside the vehicle throughout the ride if you please. Also, we may be joined at some point by His Royal Highness Ted, King of the Bears, if he sees fit. He's a bit snooty, frankly, because I won't pay his appearance fee, so we'll see. The drill is you ask us questions by means of posting a great big Q with a colon after it. Then you type your question out and put a question mark after that. The preferred mode is English or Swedish for questions.
Oh, but then I have to translate.
That's all right.
It's difficult.
It's difficult. She's doing her pretend New Zealand accent.
Kia ora.
Kia ora, Joff. Ke te pihi a koe. Ke te pai?
I thought you said English or Swedish.
Well, yes, I said preferred. But of course, I'm being a bigot because Māori is also quite a valid language here in the Shaky Isles.
Shaky Isles?
Yes, New Zealand. Where the ground goes quite a bit.
So, I am underdressed.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, you're the queen.
That, and I started laughing, and he said, "Why are you laughing at me?" And I said, "I didn't expect you to wear that uniform."
Nobody expects it. That's why it works so well. They all go, "What the fuck is this? What's he doing? Why is he doing that?" Well, I'm the commander-in-chief of the Meat Militia. That's why.
So yeah, I have a sweater, and some other people like to wear uniform.
Yes, sometimes.
And hats and shit.
Yes.
Maybe I should have that yellow thing.
The beret?
Yes.
Oh, well, yes. I was going to wear it later on, but you can.
It will not really...
No.
It won't go with my sweater.
Yeah, I was going to wear that as soon as this started to get a bit... It's quite heavy.
How can you wear that with that?
Well, it's okay. It's accepted uniform standards. How do I know? Because I'm the commander-in-chief of the Meat Militia. I make the rules in this motherfucker. And if you don't like it, you can get the fuck out. Right. So we have some questions.
Oh, but first,
yes,
press the like button.
Yes, do that. Press like.
Yes.
Don't forget to share also this stream to all your social media feeds. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Righto.
Very good.
Yes. What are you fucking about with over there?
Why not?
You're fucking around too much.
You put my Fine channel on there, and you haven't. Where is it?
It's at the very top there, where it says at Radical Food Freedom. After it says my channel is fine and fine.
It's not clickable for me though.
Is it not?
No, clearly not.
Oh well, that's sad, isn't it? Anyway, that's what it is. It's in the show notes. You can see it there. Right, can we get on with some questions? Tell us about your channel, though.
There aren't many questions.
Well, tell us about your channel.
That's why we need to waste a little bit of time before all the billions of questions come in that we won't have time to answer.
Right.
My fine channel, you can find it if you go in the show notes. And apparently at Radical Food Freedom, click the link if it works for you. If it doesn't, tell him that he is a fail while he's munching on pills. How many can you get in at the same time? Why not just... I'm
just taking my fine cereal products. Don't worry about it. It's okay.
Yes, I had a funny short going live sometime when I was sleeping.
Good.
I just made a little bit of a compilation of herbivores eating meat.
Yep.
And there were some angry vegans.
There were some angry vegans, were there? Goodness, what a shock.
That doesn't go together.
Never heard of such a thing. Of course it does. It's perfectly acceptable uniform standard. I also have 6 or 7 other colours of beret too, if I feel like
the
it.
The colour police might come and have something to say about that.
Who's the colour police?
It's this household, the head of the household. Yes.
Every time we're driving down the road of late and we see those cars with that new...
It's actually your invention.
The new yellow paint job that they've got going on. Like, right, get out your ticket book, colour police, we need to write some...
It's more yellow than that.
Yes. Write some tickets for these colour violations. So it looks like we've got at least one or two questions.
Yeah, great presentation on pH, Bart.
Thank you.
Very good.
Yes, it was the first of a few that will fill in the whole picture so that you understand all of it. And when you've watched all of those videos and got a grasp on them, you'll understand pH better than Dr. James de Noble's Tonio, who lacks the courage to front me for a debate on the topic, knowing full well that he'll get Ted 7 new assholes on this topic. It should be said, people are going, yes, but his publication record is vastly superior to yours, which it absolutely is. His publication record shits all over mine. Easily. There's no contest. However, on this point, James is wrong. It's got nothing to do with how many publications he's got or I've got or anything else. It's about who's right, and that's me.
Because you are the science.
I'm the science. Don't question the science.
Right.
Good.
To the questions.
Yeah.
Is it always better for everyone to eat just one meal a day? For example, I was treated with 100 milligram of prednisone for 5 days every 3 weeks for 6 cycles.
Oh, Jesus. No, it's not always best. It's best, all things else being equal, for the average person. There are a number of reasons that people might experience difficulties with eating one meal a day, and as such might go to 2 or even 3, depending on how severe
Can I continue?
their problem is. Yes, go on.
There are 2 more posts from the same person.
Yes.
Since then, I have had trouble getting into ketosis when consuming even a little too much protein, and it takes me days to return to ketosis once it stops for that reason.
Okay,
so...
Well, can I answer that?
No,
Fuck.
I was advised, as in the PKD protocol, to split the daily amount into 2 meals, and this worked for me in terms of achieving a sustainable therapeutic ketosis. Now it's done.
Okay. What do you mean by therapeutic ketosis? For what reason do you want to be in ketosis? And what science underpins that? I'll let you come back to me with an answer to any of those questions.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. The answers I've given already stand for your series of questions. Carry on. What's next?
But if he wants to get into ketosis, but he can't when he...
Are you assuming his, her, them, theys, whatever?
It.
Hello.
Fucking non-binary bullshit person.
My name's Dennis. Well, you didn't bother to find out,
That's
did
a fucking
you?
male name, isn't it? Bigot.
I couldn't just call him man, could I? Go on. Mm-hmm.
Obviously, this person, it has had trouble getting into ketosis when consuming even a little too much protein.
Yep.
So do you want to address that?
Don't eat so much protein.
If it's a little bit.
If there is any valid reason why you ought to be in ketosis, and therapeutically for any reason, which I'm still waiting for an answer on from anybody in science, really. But whatever. Babs! Good to see you, mate.
Super chat.
Super chat. African. Swallow.
But US dollars.
Yes.
My bro in his 80s is concerned about his memory loss as well as potentially developing Alzheimer's. Any thoughts, advice you could share as far as how carnivore could help address his concerns? Thank you, African Swallow.
Yes, it seems like Alzheimer's has recently been relabeled by some scientists at least as type 3 diabetes. And it has an association with chronic hyperinsulinemia and chronic hyperglycemia, and as such it would seem that therefore the best, most likely approach in theory to attacking this health problem is to avoid either of those situations. So don't eat carbs.
Come on. Watch your head.
Pretty much. Come on in. Just watch your head. Come on.
Come on. A lot of space.
Come on.
Oh, but why do both dogs
Hey.
need to sit over here?
Right. Because Fluffy doesn't want to be left out of the show, do you, Fluffy?
But then
Eh?
this one could have sat in the bed.
Oh.
Did you finish that question?
I think so.
Okay.
Yep.
Very good.
So carnivore inherently should, in theory, be a helpful thing for his health status ongoingly. And for all other people at all times, Alzheimer's sufferers or not, for the same reasons. It's about inflammation, largely. Isn't it, Fluffy? You know all about inflammation, don't you?
Right. Super chat.
Super chat. We like super chats.
Thanks
by
for
way.
the arteries versus veins reaction video.
You're very welcome. Yeah. Good stuff, isn't it?
We can't scroll again, so there we go.
Ah.
Question. How much wood can a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck chuck wood?
A woodchuck could not chuck much wood if a woodchuck could chuck wood, I think. How about you, Babs? What do you think? How much wood do you think a woodchuck could chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? Also, while you're at it, how many sock cutters are required to cut socks? Say that 10 times fast.
Question. Any tips for asthma apart from carnivore diet? Of course.
Yes. You might look at air filtration in the place that you are living most of the time and sleeping most of the time, perhaps. I think they can be helpful. Sometimes those atomizers that people use are quite good. Those seem to be very helpful.
What's that?
You know, they put the mask on and they breathe in it's basically steam-laden air, which helps to loosen up mucus and shit in the alveoli and get things moving and get things, when breathing difficulties rear their ugly head.
Reduce your systemic inflammation.
Reduce your systemic inflammation as per the 4 or 5 hacks system that I've published several times on my channel already. There's a 4-hack version, which is in 5 minutes or less video. The reason it's 4 and not 5 is because I ran out of 5 minutes. It's still 5 hacks. You'll find that on 3 or 4 other videos. I know, planning. It's incredible. Yeah.
That's pretty poor.
Well, you know how it is when you start talking.
Mm-hmm.
Harry, you know about it, don't you? When you start talking.
I'm going to talk to Harry later.
Oh, yeah? Oh, God, good luck.
Yes.
We love you, Harry.
I'll see you
There's nothing
tomorrow.
you can do about it. Yes. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, blah. Finished.
Yes.
We love you, Harry. Harry will be back on his Fine channel on the 16th or 17th.
Oh, fucking hell. That's very soon.
Yes, it is very
Good
soon.
stuff.
Yes. And so, Harry devotees, 16th or 17th of May is when Harry's imposed silence will end. And the voice of the King of Tasmania will once again propagate across the world.
I got a fucked up beard.
Oh, don't you listen to Mummy. Just the usual. Right, what's next?
What are your thoughts on LMHR?
Yep.
14 months on carnivore, and I'm now a LMHR.
LMHR is a categorization of individuals according to a few phenotypic presentations. It may or may not have any validity or use. It's just part of an argument that research team is putting together to try and construct an overall argument in time. Unfortunately, that research team is missing somebody on that research team who can steer them the right way on 1 or 2 issues that they are, in my opinion, going very much the wrong way on. But that's for another day, and that's for them to decide for themselves. That person need not be myself. It just needs to be someone who understands about cardiovascular disease properly, and that's not anybody on that research team as yet. What can I say about it? It's not something that yet is accepted. Not that means it's no good. It just means that it's a new thing that's being proposed, and its utility is still at question. And I'd like to say, I think the yellow beret looks absolutely stunning with the number 2 uniform. I think it does work. I don't know what you're talking about. Vote below, people. Make your comments. Am I wrong? Of course I'm wrong, because the Queen of Pirates said so, but comment what you really think if it wasn't the Queen saying I was wrong.
It looks like an old pile of autumn leaves.
An old pile of autumn leaves? Goodness gracious, you're talking about my uniform there, Your Majesty.
It's very autumn leafy.
Yes. Goodness gracious. Were you not the Queen, I'd send this chap to come and have a word with you about it.
Well, he could practice some camouflage training in that pile of autumn leaves, couldn't he? Get it. The ears got up. Well, you were harassing her. Your own fault.
Goodness gracious.
Mm-hmm.
Ted, did you hear that?
Next question.
Yes, questions.
Is there any benefit to chewing xylitol gum if I follow a carnivore diet? I was told the S. mutans bacteria can feed off things other than sugar, so avoiding dietary sugar is not enough.
I'm really not a fan of artificial sweeteners. I also don't necessarily avoid them entirely in my own life, just mostly. Ideally, a person should not consume any artificial sweetening of any kind, I think. Do you think? I know there's
ideally.
I know there's a couple that you think are reasonably innocuous and with good reason.
Yeah, but there are different people react to different things. So just because I can take stevia without any effect that I can tell, other than I do know that I get a little bit of an insulin response to it, which isn't ideal. Other than that, I don't get any cravings. There's nothing that I can notice. But ideally, you wouldn't take any such things.
Yeah. The insulin one is interesting, I think, on the artificial sweeteners. Many people are not aware of it. When your tongue tastes sweet, even if it's not carbohydrate, even if it's not sugar, even if it's not going to become blood glucose or fructose, your tongue gets the message sweet, sends a message to your brain, I taste sweet. Your brain immediately instructs that insulin be released in order to accommodate the incoming sugar, even when there isn't any. Not a good thing. There you go. There's the explanation for that.
Just a funny thing that most people might not know about. You have taste buds in other organs as well, like in your pancreas and the GI tract and stuff that sense sugar and sweet things. And they're not that freaking researched, but there might be some hormonal response to sweet things in those as well, which is kind of interesting.
So maybe they act in exactly the way that taste buds on your tongue do in order to send a message to your brain.
Won't taste it as such, but
it's a receptor.
Taste bud. Yeah. They're the same thing, basically.
That's fascinating. I've never heard of that. There you go.
It's very interesting.
There are many things I've never heard of course.
Even though you're the science, how did you miss the science on that?
The science is imperfect, you see. Well, the science isn't imperfect. The people that do the science are people, and as such are imperfect.
But you are the science.
Yes.
So do you say that people don't do you perfectly?
I'm not a people. I'm not a people. I'm the science. Don't question me. I'm the science.
And people don't do you perfectly.
I'll leave that one right alone, because I could get myself into a lot of trouble, couldn't I, boys and girls?
Is it counterproductive to take my morning blue pill Cyactive before a morning weightlifting session? Would it negate the inflammation needed from the workout?
I don't know. I think it would have an effect, absolutely, on maybe down-regulating it somewhat. I mean, really, the Cyactive is designed to reduce your chronic systemic overburden by means of toning down most people's overactive inflammatory pathways, COX and LOX.
So what inflammatory pathways are being triggered when you're actually exercising? Because I don't know this.
I know COX is involved. I'm not sure LOX is.
Okay.
So yes, it will downregulate, I guess, your post-exercise inflammatory response to some degree. And as such, you might choose to take your Cyactive 6 hours separate from your exercise or something. I don't know. Whoops. I don't know at all on that one.
That might be the smart thing to do.
Yeah, something like that.
Thoughts on cannabis and tobacco, smoking vegetables versus eating them?
Right. Combusting something and inhaling the combustion products into your lungs is contraindicated, whatever the substance is. There is no good time to inhale any kind of combustion products into your lungs directly. Tobacco seems to be vastly worse than cannabis in terms of its association with carcinogenesis, heart disease, inflammatory process, etc. Cannabis, less problematic because it has some counteractive anti-inflammatory effect of its own, but still not a safe and effective thing to do for long-term health. There is no indication, no place for that in a person's requirement. It's an individual decision based on their own level of hedonism and dopamine addiction and whatever else as to whether they do those things. And in the case of tobacco, obviously there's a nicotine. I don't want to use the word dependence. Let's just call it an addiction, because addictions can be broken. Dependence implies that you cannot be without it, which isn't correct, is it? Is that right, you think? Yes?
Well,
No?
I guess it's a matter of definition.
Definitions.
Definition?
Yes.
I think a dependency can still be broken.
And become a former dependency?
If you like.
Mm.
Ex-dependency.
Just like the sovereign territory of Bhatia here in New Zealand is a former part of New Zealand, and now we are a former dependency. We claim our territory in the name of the Kingdom of Bhatia. Thank you.
Also, kids are dependent on their parents for their survival.
Yes.
At some point, they actually grow up and can do it themselves.
Yes, but the statement remains true that kids are dependent, adults are not. That's the thing. Semantics.
We have a super chat.
We like super chats. Let's have it.
Yes, we have some Australian dollars.
Oh, we like Australian dollars too.
Just A?
Yeah, Australian dollars.
Okay.
Yep. They're better than our Pacific pesos here.
Are they? Not
slightly.
much, though.
Not much, no.
Morning, Pim and Professor. Does the automatic nervous system slow breathing rate in an attempt to increase red blood cell access to oxygen? And does low serum carbon dioxide result in higher blood pH?
Right. The first part, no, the autonomic nervous system doesn't slow your breath in an attempt to increase red blood cell access to O2. It does the exact opposite. It increases the rate of blood flow, thus meaning more of the blood per unit time passes the tissues where the transfer of gases occur in the alveoli of the lungs. And does low serum CO2 result in higher blood pH? Yes. Yes, it does. Cause and effect. It's one of the 4 control levers on pH. Temperature, partial pressure of carbon dioxide gas, the SID plus and the ATOT minus. Those are the control levers. And temperature, if I didn't mention that. 4 of them.
Very nice.
Good. But that preempts my next 5 or 6 videos a bit, where I'll explain why that is so absolutely.
Very good. We have triglycerides, which means we constantly have way more fat in the blood at any time than sugar. So can you never possibly avoid mixing fat and carbs, which activates the Randle cycle? Someone has been thinking.
Yes, and thinking is a good thing. Yes, there's always an amount of free fatty acids, triglycerides, whatever in your blood, yes.
Complaints.
Yes, your body does produce its own glucose according to the exact level that it determines is needed at the time. Gluconeogenesis. Gluconeogenesis is very accurate and very reactive and produces generally the right amount. Unless you do something like vastly overeat protein or whatever. And as such, the body will not set the Randle cycle away inappropriately by itself. You have to take in exogenous carbohydrates to have enough carbohydrates to cause the Randle cycle to become active enough to cause a problem. I think that covers it.
Good.
Yes.
I just forgot.
So can you avoid the Randle cycle? Yes, you can. Either eat basically no fat or basically no carbohydrate. One of those diets will leave you in a good situation long-term health-wise, probably in terms of all the nutrients that your body requires and everything else. And one of them is absolutely destitute and will lead to your catastrophic health failure at some point, probably within 5 years, because 84% of people that ever try that ridiculous diet go that way. Okay, so it's the meat-based, fat-based diet is the one that you should follow, and not the plant-based one at all.
Very nice.
Very nice. Yes, good. What's next?
Been eating carnivore for 5 months. I lost weight initially, approximately 5 kilos in the first weeks. Since then, I've been gained 10 kilos and can't seem to lose any weight.
Right. So the first bit of mass loss is almost entirely going to be in the form of water, which you've thrown off because you're no longer holding on to it because your inflammation probably went down. If you've gained 10 kilos over 5 months, there'll be a reason why that is. There'll be something not quite idealized, optimized with your diet individually in terms probably of the levels of protein and or fats that you're taking in which case we would make alterations to those factors in order to help you get on track. That's the kind of thing I do in one-to-one private consultancies, which are accessible at the bit.ly link under the screen in this video show notes for this fine video presentation.
Very good.
Yes. Oh, those of you who haven't seen my video, the first of 6, about pH control in body fluids, it became available for your viewing pleasure this morning, my time. You need to go and watch that after this presentation because, well, I'm only going to carry on with the series of making all those videos if enough people watch the first one. There you go. There's a challenge for you, because if you don't watch it, it tells me that you don't actually care about the education. You don't want to know the mechanisms by which this works. And actually, you're just interested in hearing me call someone like James the Nick and Antonio, Nick and Nobles, Tonio, a bunch of names because he's an idiot on this topic.
Super chat.
Super chat. No singing.
Can you explain why you said all oils are bad? Yes. I have been cooking steak in olive oil on the stove. What should I use instead?
Butter, ghee, lard, tallow.
What about coconut oil?
Coconut oil, yes. If you like your steak to taste like coconut.
Well, if it's refined coconut oil, it doesn't taste of anything.
Well, then now you're talking about a refined product. And by the way, coconut oil shouldn't be called coconut oil because it's not oil, it's fat. Fat is solid at room temperature, which coconut oil is, so it's coconut fat.
Good.
Bigots.
So, is it okay then?
I'm not adverse to coconut oil personally. If that works for you, fine. I'm happy with that because coconut fat is actually more saturated than the fat you'll get with beef. Olive oil, they'll say, oh, it's good, it's monounsaturated, it's anti-inflammatory, it's good stuff. Well, yes, if it was all MUFA, that would be a fair argument, but if what you are consuming is actually genuinely olive oil, which it probably isn't, even though it says it on the label, even then it will still be 14 to 16% polyunsaturates, which are absolutely, completely, utterly contraindicated in the human diet. Plant-based ones, extracted ones, the ones that you get out of bottles and add to your food. There is some monounsaturates you will find with your meat-based diet, absolutely. But those ones don't have the same issues with deuterium, etc. That's for another day.
If we have any admins here that can block this person, please do so. Oh, now someone's done it. Thank you.
Very good.
I'm trying to do it, but it doesn't react to me at all.
Oh, it won't do it from that screen, probably. No. I don't know. Maybe it would, maybe it wouldn't. Whatever. Yep, okay, bye, idiots. Yep, good.
Too much spam, same message 15 times.
Yeah, no spam, goodbye.
If IR, insulin resistance, I assume, is a construct, how could, actually, I thought we were finished with the PLN, so what the fuck's going on here? Anyway, how could that metabolic situation be named using a few words, sentences?
Right, okay. It's not if insulin resistance is a construct. It is a construct. Fact. There's no question that it's a construct. It is. How should the metabolic situation be named using a few words and sentences? Well, there are 3 potential situations which could be accurately described using the accurate labels, which are we have hyperinsulinemia, or we have hyperglycemia, or we have both at any given time, based on the activities of the Randle cycle at that time. Those are the things that are measured. Those are the things which companies sell meters for that we can measure. Those are the actual phenomena, the concentration of a certain thing in the blood. Insulin resistance is not. It's not an actual thing. It's an idea. It's an interpretation. It's not measurable with a meter. It's not science. It's an idea. It's a theology. I hope that's clear. Thank you for the PLNs.
Some not questions. Got new dogs, I see.
No.
New.
No. One of them is 13 and one of them is 11, something like that.
Yeah, I think so.
We've had them, well,
For that long?
Pim's had them for that long. I've known about them as long as I've known Pim, which is not quite that long.
Oh, not that far off.
Good. So no, they're not new.
No, they're the same dogs.
Yes.
Not even in a new package.
Yeah.
They look the same, I think.
Yeah. These ones are Utviklingsstad.
So, just an announcement, apparently.
Master Chief.
Ken Berry's got the wheels rolling on a new American Diabetes Society. Raised $50,000 in less than 3 days of GoFundMe.
Good work, Ken.
Yeah.
Love it. Yep.
Yes.
Ted says he'd like to be the science officer for that organisation. He'll be all over it. He's quite competent. Trust him, he's the science.
What? How can he be the science when you are the science?
Well, he and I are aspects of the same thing, much like electromagnetism.
Right. Good.
Yeah.
Good. Glad we sorted out. If you are unwilling or unable to eat a single large bolus of protein, giving you a small bump of needed insulin, would a minor amount of glucose be useful?
Possibly, potentially. That's one of the situations where a person might take in a very small bolus of carbohydrate of the right kind at the right time to produce such a thing. Under advice from someone competent to give such advice, perhaps. Hopefully.
Did you know that human jaws have gotten smaller over centuries?
I did. Did you? Clearly you did, because you suggested it. Did you know that?
Yes. Right.
Good.
Super chat.
Yep.
Thanks, Bart. Which types of cardio are good or bad?
High intensity burst and repeat activity and or resistance training, either fixed weight or variable resistance, i.e. resistance band, i.e. X3. There you go, John. Ching!
Yeah,
All
I'm
good stuff.
stuck.
All good stuff. Low intensity work, such as long distance walking, tramping at a very low intensity, fine. Everything in the middle, not fine. Is the short version of that.
Okay, I'm going to have... Sorry for showing the same thing, but that's the only way that I can get the mouse to scroll back in the chat, apparently.
Good. Good.
Yes.
You can show the same thing as many times as you like. You're the queen.
Thanks. Right. What's the maximum of each of the 3 main cereal products? I think I saw a video with Bart saying he took 8 SEU a day.
Yes, at times it's 8. At other times it might be 16 if I'm in a pickle for some reason. Sometimes I'll take fewer than 8 of the Stem Enhance Ultra. The maximum effective dose is 16, beyond which it becomes basically ineffective at driving stem cell release still higher. It sort of levels out, is what I'm saying. There is no known toxicity level for Stem Enhance. The same is true of Cyactive, it seems. More up to about 16 seems effective in terms of anti-inflammatory effect, anecdotally. There is no known toxicity level for that product either. The plasma flow is...
Sorry.
Not at all. The plasma flow is limited to 2 a day because it's an enzyme-based preparation, which if you take too much of it, will start eating into your other proteins that you really don't want it doing. So 2 of those and up to 16 of the others. There you go.
Apologies if any eardrums were blowing.
There is a limiter on it, so it should be all right.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Miss Pim, that dog is so fucking precious. I hope you meant the one that I was holding.
Yeah, the other one.
Then I agree with you. The other one's a dickhead.
Yes, Pim has 2 dogs. One of them's good and the other one's the other one. Yep. How you going, by the way, Wes? Good to see you, mate.
More super chat.
Yes.
Hi, Bart. I have a
Moderate.
Model 8 AC in LAD and have also had LPLA.
Yeah.
Any recommendations?
Yeah.
What the hell is wrong with this? Cannot tell about Soritosol?
I wonder if that means cerule. Don't know.
I have no idea what this means. It's too cryptic for me.
Yeah, perhaps you could send a message once again in English would be good.
Yeah.
Yeah. It sounds like you have some degree of heart disease. Okay. I would suggest those 4 or 5 hacks videos. go through those, instigate all 5 of those hacks in your lifestyle, and that will put you in the best situation of a likelihood of renewal, repair, and regression of that situation. Okay?
Yes.
Never mind your blood lipids. Forget it. It's a red herring. It's a total wild goose chase. Your blood lipids have nothing whatever to do with your heart disease status at all. Innocent bystanders. What's next?
Yes. Post again if we have misunderstood.
Yes.
Because I didn't understand shit about fuck.
No.
I said fuck.
Question. Yes. Questions.
Bart, I apologize if you mentioned this before, but had you already started eating low carb when you were giving your eye diagnosis years ago? When did you start taking Cerule products?
Yes, I was low-ish carb, ketogenic, sort of cyclic ketogenic for 27 years. When I got my diagnosis, I didn't transition to anything like a decently carnivorous diet until 5 years after I started taking the Cerule products. So there is a good 5 years of separation of confounds there. And my experience was that my so-called incurable progressive blindness issue that I was expected to suffer did not occur in the time frame that they told me that it should occur. In fact, my eyesight's got better. She turned me into a newt. She did. I got better.
Good for you.
Yes.
How would one put on fat weight eating this way?
Well, consume too much food.
This is good advice.
That'll put fat on you. The other thing you want to do, if you want to be almost definitely sure to put on fat, is eat a bunch of fructose and don't exercise. Be a couch potato. Eat fructose.
Do the Saladino diet.
Do the Saladino diet without the exercise. And you will be as fat as fuck before you know it. Guarantee it. Reason? Well, go and look up an enzyme called KFK, the fast isomer, the one that exists in your liver. See what that does. Tim's going to do a short about it, having watched the video on it yesterday, aren't you?
Yes, I'm just struggling with how to making it short.
I just did. That was pretty short, wasn't it? Go and look up KFK and see what that does in the liver.
Tell people, go and look this up.
Yes.
See what it does.
Yes. Pim will make an exploratory on it at some point.
I shall have to think about how to express that in as few seconds as possible.
Right.
You forgot the question, the capital Q.
Yes.
So if you forget that, you're most likely not going to be read, but I saw this one. So,
lucky.
How do we get the powers at B to change and to change people's minds about calories?
By continuing to tell the truth about them and correct people who are wrong about them everywhere that we can possibly do so, consistent with not starting a brawl in your real life, in the real world. Unless you want to start a brawl, in which case all power to you. We'll send Ted and he will bring his bazookas.
Excellent.
Yes.
More PLNs.
We do like our PLNs, don't we?
Yes, apparently we do. Any scientific evidence of chronic Randle cycle activation despite of switching to a zero-carb diet after decades of eating carbs? PLN is a real currency, not a construct.
Excellent, good. Any evidence of chronic Randle cycle activation despite switching to a zero-carb diet? No. Because if you're eating a zero-carb diet, the Randle cycle will be almost entirely deactivated.
Right, I found another one that doesn't have a capital Q.
Goodness, you're lucky today that Pim's feeling in an exploratory mood.
Yes, I saw the question mark at the end. Could you explain the mechanism for obtaining or production of vitamin C on carnivore?
Yes, eat meat. Meat contains vitamin C. In the nanogram range, I understand, it's there's almost no vitamin C in meat whatsoever. But guess what? On a diet consisting purely of meat and fat, the exact requirement for vitamin C for human beings is the same, almost none. It's almost as if we've been doing that for 4.5 million years and our bodies have adjusted to exactly that. Oh, that's right. They have. Good. Next question.
So you mean we didn't have scurvy every winter?
No. Do you have scurvy?
I don't know.
I don't.
What if my teeth are falling out tomorrow?
Are they?
But then I eat blueberries.
Well, you need to hand your card in then.
Yeah.
You're not a carnivore because you had 3 blueberries. You can go and
Probably
join.
more than 3 blueberries.
Look,
to be
go
fair.
and join Lily Kane on the not a carnivore list because you ate 2 or 3 blueberries.
And also, we are fattening up for winter because we found feijoas.
Unbelievably good. It's autumn time. It's entirely appropriate, except in that feijoas are kind of a human invention. Otherwise, it's pretty good. Right. What's next?
Yeah.
Mm.
I'm telling on us. We
Yes.
ate fruit. Oh no!
Oh, no.
We're going to die.
That's right. We're not carnivores because we ate some fruit once.
Yeah.
Mm.
Given red meat consumption is higher than average, should we be worried about iron overload? I don't have hemochromatosis, but I also don't care to get bloods. Any symptoms to look out for?
There are a number of nondescript symptoms of elevated iron status that actually also are symptoms that are shared by hundreds of different pathologies. So not really. The only way to establish that a person definitely has an iron overload is via getting the labs that say so. However, if you are suffering no symptomology or health problem of any kind, then I would suggest that there isn't a problem and you don't need to invent one. Like what Lily Kane did. Because her iron was slightly above the top end of the reference range. That's not a pathology, that's just a lab value on one occasion that was above what you're supposed to be according to the people that tell you what you should be, without reference to symptomology, health status, actual, or anything else. It's just rubbish, basically.
Rubbish.
Mm.
More invisible penis?
Invisible penis, I'll have to find them. I think they're in the shelving unit behind us somewhere. They're away. They haven't been used for a bit. Because that would also involve a singing of the Invisible Penis song, which would break the rules of no singing, wouldn't it?
Indeed, but you still do it.
What can you do? It's hard to get good help.
Question. Is
Yep.
there a study on if you dream about having sugar, it's as if you're consuming it?
No, there isn't such a study that I'm aware of.
No, but I can imagine that you could potentially get a whack of dopamine release doing that. It's nothing that
Interesting.
suggests
A
to
very
me
interesting.
that would
Yeah,
happen.
that's an interesting question. Very interesting question. Don't know.
Because when you think about eating something, you do get an amount of dopamine released even before you eat it. So why wouldn't that happen in your dreams? Here's another lucky person. I eat beef, lamb, and kangaroo only, but I'm developing an aversion to lamb. The smell and taste is totally turning me off it. Why does this happen?
That'll be your body telling you something about what it needs right now and doesn't. There'll be something different with the fatty acid profile, the level of fat, etc. Lamb is much fattier than either of beef or kangaroo. Kangaroo is much less fatty than beef. Maybe you've had enough fat for now and your body's just telling you that. Complete guess, of course.
I've had more or less a meat aversion for the last several days.
Yeah, so your body's...
But I was
yeah.
kind of fasting for 24 hours, and
So your
that
body's
seems to help
telling
a
you,
little bit.
your body's telling you it doesn't need it or want it right now.
No, eggs are fine though. Eggs are always
Well, there
fine.
you go.
Follow up from previous question. I resistance train 4 times per week. I eat steak, lamb, and eggs, and add chicken thighs occasionally. Protein is 250 grams, while fat is around 100 grams. What should my ratios be?
It's got nothing to do with ratios. Ratios shouldn't be your first concern. Your concern is when you feel hungry, you should eat. And when your body tells you that you've eaten enough food, you should immediately stop eating food, even if there's still a bit left on your plate. Ideally, you should take in somewhere around 2 grams of protein per lean kilogram of body mass, or reference ideal mass for a person of your height, based on the 22.5 BMI, very rough calculation on that. There's a lot of noise around that. There'll be an n equals 1 value for you, which will be somewhere around about there, though. So aim for that, and then eat to satiety with fat, additional to that which comes directly with said meat. I use butter myself to add fat. Others choose other sources of animal fat. The most important thing is that you add animal fat, with the potential exception sometimes of coconut, as discussed earlier. Coconut fat.
I I think Harry said deuterium
Yes,
for coconut fat.
Yes, deuterium could be an issue.
Or for any oil.
Yep. Any plant-based
I'm just assuming
fat or
now
oil.
that that applies to coconut oil
Yes.
as well, since he
You
said
bet.
it, but
Absolutely.
I've lost where he was. So
Yeah. There's Harry here.
yes.
Now. All right. Hello, Harry.
Well, I don't know if he's still here.
Okay. Harry was here if he isn't still.
Harry.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm gonna have to for a while before I see Harry in an hour and 15 minutes.
Right. He'll be ready.
I'm glad he's awake.
Yes. What time is it there? 8:46. Nah, he's been out of bed for a while, has Harry?
Super chat.
Yes.
My HbA1c only dropped from 6.8 to 6.4 after 5 months on carnivore. I've been type 2 for 20 years. What could I improve to put it in remission?
There are many things that are possible. It's probably an individual discussion behind the scenes in terms of a consult session or more. Oftentimes, we need to play around with your ratio a bit to get your A1C into the right range and get it to reset the hysteresis and the homeostatic mechanisms to expect that and produce that. The other thing to keep in mind is that you've been living with the pathology for 20 years. It's not going to heal completely and fully in 5 minutes. Or 5 months. Yeah.
Also, with regards to HbA1c, I would say if you can just spot check your blood glucose or get a CGM, but if your blood sugar is actually within range, but your HbA1c is high, there's probably nothing wrong. You're probably on track. It's just that your blood cells live longer than they used to, and it doesn't go down as much as you would expect it to.
Yeah.
I found Harry's comment and I lost it again.
No, it was just you just scrolled off it.
Nope, I didn't, because I had already scrolled away. Because I was looking for the next question, because you were talking for too long.
I never talk for too long.
But I have lost the next question as well. Looking for cues, Q. Here's a cue.
Very good.
Let's go there.
Yeah.
In an epidemiological study, can we consider no association as proof of no causation? Couldn't X cause Y and by coincidence be perfectly correlated with a co-founder that hides the association?
Yes, that is possible. I don't think no association is proof of no causality, but it's a vastly stronger indication of there being no real likelihood of such an association than a weak association that suggests the opposite. Further to that, if the net result is no change in the outcome variable of concern, then who cares? Because that's the actual outcome, isn't it? We found that saturated fat was not meaningfully associated with cardiovascular outcomes, ergo, who cares?
Indeed.
It is not an associate, ergo, not a viable target.
Very good.
Unlike James de Noble's Tonio, who was a very viable target, and I attacked him on his ego, and he took it hook, line, and sinker, rod, reel, tackle, and half the fucking boat, didn't he? Funny as fuck.
So here's the comment.
Yes.
Morning, Bart and Pim. Refined oils are high in deuterium, so good idea to give all such oils a miss.
Fine. Happy with
There
that.
you go.
Yep. Absolutely fine.
Is consuming citric acid in sugar-free electrolytes like LMNT every day as a carb insulinogenic? What about glycation from it? Thank you.
Citric acid is not a sugar.
No.
As such, it will have no effect on glycation because it's unable to glycate because it's not a sugar.
Good.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you for the Australian dollars.
Yes, indeed. We love Australian dollars, as we said earlier.
Yes, now I have to find questions again.
More
Here's another
questions.
one. What is the best treatment for familial hypercholesterolemia?
It requires no treatment. It is what it is. It's appropriate. It's on the basis of genes that have survived at least 3,800 million years, and probably a great deal longer than that, actually. Why would you need to treat it? It is what it is. Cholesterol does not cause heart disease.
Very good. Can carnivore diet cure ADD and depression? How did it affect both of your focus and overall mental well-being? There's a scientist named Chris Palmer who talks about therapeutic ketosis for this.
Right. I have a history of mental health issues. Believe it or not, kids. I know, shocking revelation. My mental health now is better than it's been at any time in my life.
So how do we get it better?
How did we get it better? I think it's a combination.
I mean, from here.
Oh, well, we could get it better. Absolutely. Everything has room for improvement. Are you here to help, or
Yes.
what's the story?
Yes.
Yeah, good. She's here to help.
Otherwise I wouldn't be doing this bullshit.
It's the bullshit.
Yes.
I believe a combination of the carnivore diet, cereal products, electrical earthing, at least, if not items 4 and 5 on that list of things I promote, which I don't really adhere to very well myself, those last 2. But the first 3, absolutely, I think are 90-something% of the battle in terms of mental health. At least it was for me in my experience. Chris Palmer, I've heard the name, and I'm not sure whether Chris Palmer is proving cause and effect relationships or just looking at associations, because it might be something completely unrelated to the actual level of ketones in the blood that might be actually having this effect, one finds.
Well, ketones help protect your neurons.
Sure.
So that
From what
might be
though?
helpful. From what? From the inflammations.
I see. Anti-inflammatory effect on neurons?
From
Okay.
deterioration, I believe.
Right. Deterioration.
That might be why.
Deterioration, Harry, not deuteriation. Goodness. Pay attention, son.
One more question, then we have a couple of super chats, I
Good,
believe.
we love super chats.
What are your thoughts on lab-grown meat?
I wouldn't touch it with a barge pole.
Oh,
Not at all. Wouldn't go anywhere near it.
why though?
Because it's a human invention. And human inventions, in terms of foodstuffs, have all been disastrous. Every one of them for our health. So I suspect that one will be too. And probably if you just looked at the way it's put together, you might go, I don't know. I mean, people say, why not? Well, that's just how I am. I mean, people say to me, why wouldn't you eat the bugs? Well, because bugs are fucking disgusting. And the idea of lab-grown meat is as disgusting to me nearly as eating bugs, which I wouldn't do.
Yeah, it's like when we take vitamin supplements, they're all taken out of context and might not have the same effect as they would have in actual real meat because they don't get all the cofactors and all the synergistic effects. So there is a big chance that the same thing happens with meat that is grown in a lab environment,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
in my opinion.
Yes.
So you probably might not die from it, but it's probably not going to be the best thing for you either.
So the take-home message, Frank Tofano, if you're watching, is be careful what kind of meat you put in your mouth.
I'm glad that you're helping him here.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Thank you for the super chat. More PLNs.
Mm-hmm.
Cows and sheep are often fed soy and grains. Sheep?
Okay.
Sheep where?
Not here.
The terrains where they live often depleted of key nutrients. Any supplements to a carnivore diet? Iodine, magnesium, B vitamins. Thank you for the FAQ time.
Well, it's our pleasure to fack about with you. Yes, we like facking about. We're always facking about, Pim and I. Not in this country do those things happen so much. So it's not really an issue for us here. In terms of things being depleted from the soil, sure, possibly at various places around the world. I would only suggest supplements, in terms of nutritional supplements, they are only indicated if a demonstrated deficiency is diagnosed. Appropriately diagnosed, that is. Not just, well, you're lower on this level than what this normative test tells you should be. Like actual symptomology as well, and, a corroborative, holistic view of the situation. So any of those supplements may or may not be useful on a case-by-case basis. But I've yet to come across a genuine deficiency in a carnivore eating person. Personally. Doesn't mean they don't exist. I'm sure they do.
Oh, absolutely.
But there are also, vastly more deficient vegans. So, yeah. What's next?
I was also thinking that if you do need to supplement, you probably don't need to do it for life. You just need to get back on track, and then your diet would probably, unless you have some problems absorbing it, you should probably be okay.
Yes. While I'm thinking about it also and looking at it, this particular decoration here, the very top one there, that is the Meat Militia decoration for 3 months ban on the YouTubes. So, Harry, I'll be sending you one in the post. You've earned it, son. Good. Operations.
One super chat. Since spirulina can help neutralize the harmful effects of radiation in the body, does Stem Enhance do the same since it's also made from algae?
I've never heard that spirulina can help to neutralize the harmful effects of radiation.
I'm wondering if that's because it's supposedly having iodine in it?
Could be. Iodine is the standard treatment for radiation poisoning is a vast flush with iodine. So maybe there's some iodine in the spirulina. I don't know whether Stem Enhance has any effect. That's not one of the things that it's purported to do or sold in order to achieve. Its sole purpose is to stimulate the release of adult stem cells from your bone marrow to the blood, which it does. And I know that even the company refers to the AFA and to spirulina as algae. They're not. Algae sort of implies plant material, I think, personally. Both spirulina and AFA are cyanobacter, which is a kingdom of life which is neither a plant nor an animal. It's a mixture of both, actually. It's a bacteria that happens to photosynthesize. It's kind of a missing link. Just for fun, I thought I'd share that. Very nice.
Yes. Another super chat.
Very good. We love those.
Elementi tweeted that the 2 grams of carbs in Elementi sachets is from citric acid when someone asked them.
Well, that's just nonsense. Citrate is not a sugar. Neither is it a carb, really.
I'm wondering if it's bound to something that they have in the formula or something, and
Maybe.
That's why they say it.
Maybe. Yeah.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Right.
That sounds very strange to me. In the same way as someone referring to ammonium in the urine as an acid, which in the context of being in the urine, it isn't. It's an anion. It's an ion. It's positively charged and it's fully associated at physiological pH. Sorry about that, James No Balls Tonio. Wrong again, son.
Another super chat.
We like those.
What are your thoughts on salt water for detox?
Salt water is a good idea if you're needing to take in electrolytes for detox. Who knows? Who knows?
So
there are all sorts of people with theories on that.
Why would salt water detox you?
Well, again, exactly. You'd need to spell out the proposed mechanism there for me.
Unless you're talking about like a salt water flush or something like that.
Maybe.
What the fuck is PLN? Polish-looking noobs? Yes. Okay. Is listening to Fruit Saladino and consuming large amount of fructose KFK-esque?
Yeah.
3rd foot 6 months ago, thinking about buying Cerol Trio. Which would be best, Cyactive or Cyactive Joint? It may be ligament or something torn. Getting MRI next week.
Cyactive Standard would be the go. The other thing I would throw in, which is not something sold by Cerol, it's something you can get elsewhere, I would throw in personally, this is not advice, this is what I would do. I would add Peptide 157. BPC 157 is the full name of it. Stands for Body Protective Compound. Number 157. It's a chain of 13 amino acids that is naturally made by the human body in very small amounts. It has potent effects on soft tissue healing, among other things.
Tissue, you mean?
Tissue, yes, tissues. It's not cleared for human use. It's for experimental use only, and it's so very dangerous you can buy it from Amazon in 500 microgram tablets, which you would take 1 to 3 of per day for not more than 30 days, I would suggest. That's not advice.
What percent body fat seems to be optimal for long-term health?
There are all sorts of ideas on that.
And that probably depends on your genetics a lot, I would say.
Yeah.
Some people are naturally very fucking skinny and some people are naturally not.
Yeah. I don't think there's a straightforward answer to that. There is not a number you can throw at that. There's way too much noise around that signal.
Yes, just look at Asian people. As soon as they have a little bit of fat on their organs, they get diabetic, which does not happen for people like me.
Non-Asian people.
Yes. Well, depends.
Does it happen to Asian dogs? We've got one of those.
No, she's not fat though.
Where is she? Oh, she's sleeping.
Yes.
No.
Sure, she don't say the name.
The small one is Asian. She's Chinese.
As carbs are toxic and the body works so hard to get them out of the system, why is there a carb transport into cells?
Because you need a certain amount of cells. It's the dose that makes the toxin on any toxin.
A certain amount of cells.
A certain amount of carbohydrates is required. That's why you have a transporter to get it in there, and the amount that's required in there to do what's required for it to do. Exogenous extra carbs above those that you physiologically provide for your own body by manufacturing them yourself, those are toxic because they are additional above what should be there. And therefore, it's back to the dose makes the poison. Thank you for the question.
Very nice. But how did you pull off being with Pim? Any tips?
Well, I've done just about everything possible to ensure that that doesn't carry on, and she's still here. So I think there's a problem with Pim, frankly.
Yes.
What's wrong with you? Why are you still here?
Brain damage.
Must be.
Yeah.
I think some things are ordained elsewhere by a greater power that says, I think this will work. This is a good synergy in some ways. Perhaps not in others, though.
Perhaps not. Why do you think we shouldn't be on the fish sardines specifically?
It's not fish that's the problem. It's not sardines that are the problem. It's tinned anything, especially fatty fish like sardines, which becomes rancid as fuck and gets tainted with the plastic which lines tins. I wouldn't go any fucking near it, frankly.
Very good.
Yes.
Can you please explain the process of grounding?
Yes. When you connect yourself via an electrically conductive conduit to the earth, that allows you and the earth to share the level of electrons available floating around. You absorb electrons out of the earth into your body, and those electrons repair oxidative damage done to your tissues. The process is ground yourself electrically via any means possible.
Is this one connected?
Yes.
Cool.
The mouse pad that Pim is currently touching on the desk
I need to get one.
that you can't see is electrically conductive.
Excellent.
The bed we sleep on is electrically conductive. So that's working and sleeping. That's kind of 16 hours a day at least that we both...
16 hours. Did you say that?
Yeah.
Who sleeps for 16 hours?
No. Sleeping grounded and working grounded with a mouse
for
pad.
you,
Yeah.
yes,
So
yes.
for me, it's like 16 hours grounded.
I don't sleep enough. I need to.
Or work enough.
Rude.
Work harder.
Really don't want to.
No. Somebody's got to pay Ted's appearance fee somehow.
Can the human body break down and metabolize cholesterol for energy much more efficiently in the absence of dietary carbohydrates?
Well, usually the body doesn't break down or metabolize cholesterol. It builds it up. It manufactures it to do its job in the body, which is not to provide energy. It's not an energy substrate. So, no. Thanks for the question.
Yes. Does Cyactive have any contraindications with kidneys like naproxen or ibuprofen do? Thanks.
No, it doesn't.
Bart Pym, have either of you consulted someone in conjunction with another nutritionist, such as one that works for a medical center to, for example, help with consultant monitor vitals while transition?
Not for years have I been involved in working collaboratively with a nutrition professional outside of myself. And at the time I was working in academia, not as a private consultant. And I was recruited off a list of people that the university thought might be appropriate for the person that contacted the university and said, have you got someone that can work with us on this one and consult? That's the only time I've done that. How about you?
Not as in I've been in contact with that consultant, no. But obviously a lot of my clients do have other issues. A lot of them thyroid for some reason. And some other, without giving anything away, some other addiction support have been there, which we've been talking about doing it, but then they didn't think it was necessary. So
yes.
No, not really.
Good.
Does carnivore diet speed up muscle recovery?
We can't say it does or it doesn't. But I would suspect that it probably does on the basis of it being a fairly anti-inflammatory situation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Super chat!
Super chat. No singing.
Where can I find this one study done about fiber effects on human? I need to throw it in the faces of people who advocate for fiber. Thanks, Professor Bart the Great.
Okay, the one and only one study extant so far that I'm aware of on this topic is the one that is covered in some length on a video about fiber and constipation by Dr. Paul Mason. It's still available on the YouTubes, I believe. Go to Paul Mason's channel or just search for Paul Mason fiber and constipation and you'll find the video that cites that paper. Or if anybody has that citation to hand, just flick it up in the chat.
Every time I'm looking for it, I just search on YouTube for it and I do find it.
Yeah,
so
it's not hard.
Yeah.
It's a well-known video.
I think
one of
it's
the
from
classics.
it's from a presentation on low carb down under, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I mean, ataz, not it is. Ataz, yes.
What are your thoughts on MCT oil's purported benefits for brain function, reducing brain fog, etc.?
Not convinced one way or the other. I don't think it's harmful, in the very least, to have MCT oil. I've used it myself, sparingly and occasionally, when it gets added to things like homemade ice cream that Pim used to make.
I haven't made that in 100 years.
No, you haven't.
Oh.
Jury's out. If you think it's good and you want to swear by that and live by that, you fill your boots, I think, at this stage. There's no evidence that it's problematic that I'm aware of. Yes.
Okay. How to lower blood pressure and keep it down?
In one simple step, don't eat plant material or carbohydrates of any kind.
I recently had a complete.
Yeah.
Just guessing here.
Yeah, good.
Metabolic panel.
Yes.
The only out of range test was carbon dioxide total at 17. 1 year ago it was 23. I don't have any respiratory issues. Any thoughts? Carnivore since October 23.
If you don't have respiratory issues and your carbon dioxide is elevated, that would suggest a possible metabolic issue, which would need investigation if you need it investigated, because, well, there's not a huge difference between 17 and 23 carbon dioxide. Also depends on the circumstances under which it's taken, by whom, at what time, all sorts of things. You should probably consult with me in the background. God, I don't know how many assessments on that I've done in my life. Many.
Too many.
Many. Obviously, I'll be talking it through with you rather than actually doing the assessment, because we can't test your respiratory gas over the interwebs.
Right. Can a carnivore diet help?
Of the body for the longest period of time possible, if that's what the patient is interested in trying to achieve. Really?
Yes.
But I think in terms of the anti-inflammatory nature of the diet, it's likely to be at least of assistance in your everyday experience, I think. Oh, and don't take statins because, well, the association of ALS incidence increase in populations of people who take statins is up to something like 11,800% relative increase in incidence.
Excellent.
Which I think is quite significant as an increase in incidence, and probably worth taking seriously as a potential problem. And given that statins provide no benefit of any kind, there's no indication for statins. I would stop doing that if you are doing that. Of course, once ALS is developed, it's developed, isn't it? And it's going to proceed at some rate or another. Right, I'm done. Good.
What's your thoughts on milk? Does it belong in a carnivore way of eating?
Plus minus individual n equals 1. What's good for you? Good for some people, bad for others. 2/3 of the world population are intolerant to lactose. No good for them.
But it's a carnivore appropriate food.
Sure. It's an animal-based product.
Super chat. Coffee is from plants. Should it be eliminated?
Ideally, yes, it should.
Yes.
He said, finishing off his second cup of coffee for the day.
Very good.
You too can get this fine mug off my merchandise page, which is available on that bit.ly link if you want this cup. You can have it. Not this one, but one just like it. They also come
you can get that one, but you're going to have to pay a lot more.
This one's a left-handed one. They also come in the right-handed version with the on the other side. So, good.
Right. How significant is tooth health in the prevention of heart disease and other cardiovascular issues? Is there any good info on this?
Yeah, there's an emergent and burgeoning area of research suggesting that oral health is associated very highly with cardiovascular health for reasons that they've suggested mechanisms of, but nobody's established proof-wise yet. It seems like a reasonable assumption that one system would be connected with another system in terms of your overall health. It's no surprise. It's just not an established mechanism yet. Good. You might have to hit that again. You might have to tick that again if you...
I didn't tick it.
Oh, I thought you did. My bad.
Another super chat from
Yes.
Patrice. Is it okay to take serrapeptase and lattokinase with moderate plaque? On the carnivore diet for about 2 to 3 months. Can you repeat the videos that I need to watch with the LPLA? I am a bit worried.
Okay. Yes, absolutely. Serrapeptase and natto are thought to be useful in terms of assisting to redress the plaque situation in an atherosclerotic lesion situation. Carnivore diet for only 2 to 3 months. Okay, well, you're a baby carnivore-wise. You need to be on it for 2 to 3 years before you'll get the full benefit, probably, and possibly longer in the case of atherosclerosis that's already developed. Basically, in terms of all lipoproteins, including Lp(a), they all exist precisely because they are encoded for by a length of DNA in every cell of your body that tells your cells of your body exactly how much of that lipoprotein to produce. Some of your cells produce a lot, some produce none. It's also encoded for in your genetic programming. Your genes know exactly what they are doing with respect to your lipoproteins. They've been doing it for at least 3,800 million years, and probably much longer. The idea that lipids are involved in heart disease in a causal way, native lipids as made by your body, is fundamentally, utterly ridiculous. It's false and it's wrong. Perhaps you'd like to look at the video I posted yesterday about heart disease. Solved! It's had 10,000 views already, by the way, my yesterday video.
Nice.
Let's make it go viral. Let's stick it up these lipid morons. Yeah.
Lipid morons.
Lipid morons.
Excellent. Okay.
Yes.
Steps, supplements to reduce blood pressure and keep it down.
Do not eat carbohydrates. Period. Exercise at high intensity, 45 minutes, 3 or 4 times a week maximum.
Cut out the coffee.
Cut out the coffee, absolutely. Coffee raises your blood pressure, cause and effect. Take cereal products. Ground electrically. Block blue light from your eyes after dark. Do that.
Very good.
Yeah.
We have some more super chats. Have you looked into Allulose, and what are your thoughts on it? I heard it lowers cholesterol, so I'm thinking it can't be good. Thanks.
I have only just started looking into Allulose just a very little bit. It's not an artificial sugar. It's naturally occurring. It is a sugar, but it's a sugar that the human body cannot metabolize at all. It gets excreted exactly unchanged. It goes straight through you. As to its effect on cholesterol or otherwise, I don't know at this stage.
Yeah, Allulose seems to be the new thing that everyone's going to talk about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Super chat. Many thanks, Bart. Cheers from South Florida.
You're very, very welcome.
Another one. Can teeth heal on the carnivore diet?
Yes, I've healed several teeth myself with quite significant cavities in them that were caused by my previous diet, containing a bunch of carbohydrates that ate into my teeth. I stopped doing that, took cereal products at a high level, and my cavities healed, among other things that came right in my body, unrelated to my teeth, as far as I'm aware.
Question, did we get enough tryptophan from food?
Well, yes. Pretty much. Do you have any signs and symptoms of tryptophan deficiency at all?
Deficiency.
Deficiency?
Danger Mouse. On the subject of grounding, where do electrons you lose actually go? How?
You don't lose electrons when you're grounding, you gain them.
Yes,
You gain them from the
steal
earth, they're absorbed into your body, and those electrons find holes.
But it was on the subject of grinding, so how do you lose electrons? So that you
How did you lose them in the
maybe?
first place? So that you need to ground? Thank you, Pim. That is any, what we will call free radicals, things that are actually produced via oxidative metabolism, largely in the mitochondria. Things like H2O2 is the primary one, and there's a bunch of other free radicals as well, each of which has its own intrinsic antioxidant, protein-based counterpart, sure, but those don't always work effectively. I mean, food-based antioxidant molecules are the least effective way of achieving antioxidant effect. The most effective way, it seems, is to ground yourself to the earth. The earth then becomes the donor of the electrons that are needed to repair the holes made by the antioxidants. Yeah?
Very nice.
Very nice indeed, yes.
What does the expression fat burns in the flame of carbohydrate mean?
It means the person that's speaking to you doesn't know a fucking thing about what they're talking about. It means they know exactly dick about exactly fuck. That's what it means.
Excellent.
Good. What's next?
Should someone with mast cell activation syndrome avoid taking cereal stem enhanced ultra?
No, they should not. They should not avoid it. They should do the opposite. They should gravitate to it and take it in the largest dose possible, along with Cyactive and plasma flow.
As long as they don't react to it, then you go slower.
Sure. That's why I said the highest dose possible.
What are your thoughts on teeth brushing frequency and whether or not to use fluoride?
Regarding the second part, on balance, I would suggest absolutely not, that fluoride is a good idea. The only reason that fluoride is added to municipal water supplies at all is to counteract the scourge of tooth decay, that tooth decay being causally connected to the intake of large amounts of carbohydrate, which is completely the wrong thing for a human being to do, for a number of reasons, including dental health. Fluoride is a known nerve toxin. It's a known problem. It should not be added to the water supply at all under any circumstances, no. Teeth brushing frequency, that depends on a number of issues, including the diet of the person concerned and their oral health situation at large, and whether or not they want to have passionate French kissing sessions with anybody else.
Passionate.
Passionate. It's not too biggy. No, it's passionate.
Okay. Dr. JP drinks a huge amount of water,
Yes.
apparently. Any
Right.
thoughts on daily intake? Thanks for a fucking good stream.
You're more than fucking welcome. And it's great that you fackers are all here, facking about with us on what's our Sunday morning. 2 F's, 2 E's on Chafee, by the way. Drinks a huge amount of water. Does he? Well, he's a huge man. He's a huge man. Oh, huge. This huge man. Apparently. Good. Any thoughts on daily intake? Well, we have this thing called thirst. That is our brain's way of communicating with us that physiologically we require fluid. What happens is when you're thirsty, you should drink some fluid. And when your body says to you, oh, that thirst is now slaked, you stop drinking fluid. There you go.
So here's a funny one for you, because I already mentioned that I was dry fasting yesterday.
Mm.
I got hungry, but I didn't get thirsty.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess everyone's different. I don't get thirsty a lot.
Yep.
And as far as I know, my kidneys are still working fine.
Right. Well, they must be, because you haven't fallen over yet or gone yellow.
Despite my old age.
Mm.
How much helium does Greg Duchet inhale?
Well, I don't know how much wood a woodchuck could chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood. What I do know is that he's an arrogant, ignorant, offensive little cunt, and he just needs to shut the fuck up permanently because he doesn't know dick about fuck. How's that?
Very good.
Good.
Can you please post the Cerule purchase instructions?
Yes, they are. If you want to find the Cerule purchase instructions, it's very easy. Go to the show notes under this video where it talks about a link that starts bit.ly and then it goes /Bart-KAY. Click that, and I believe it's the bottom right-hand corner of that page. You'll find a link out to Cerule. All the instructions are there. Follow the prompts on the Cerule website when you get there from that link. Don't go directly to Cerule, go to my link so that I get paid for the sale. Yep.
So, apparently, awesome. Thank you for your reply to how much helium he consumes.
Good. Yes.
How are antioxidants bad? A lot of fruits have them.
Who said antioxidants were bad? Okay. Where did you get that idea from? The bad part about fruits are the sugars and the fibre. The antioxidants are potentially helpful.
I think maybe antioxidants was in terms of losing electrons.
An antioxidant helps you to gain electrons by donating them to you.
I don't know.
I don't know either. What do we know? Dick about fuck.
But could you elaborate? What is that statement supposed to mean and why is it wrong? You have to be more... We don't know what you're talking about. I've got no idea
what you're talking about. That was minutes ago. I can't even remember what you asked.
No. Yeah. Try again.
Try again. Do better. Yes.
Be specific.
Yes. We're fucking busy here. Right.
Why my shoulder injury from lifting weights heals so slow on animal-based diet? I drink a cup of coffee with milk, a bit organic canned tomato for flavour at dinner, nothing else but beef.
Who knows? You'd need to talk to me individually in the background to try and sort through that. Could be all sorts of things going on there. Probably is, because a person is...
maybe you need to eat more.
Possibly. All sorts of maybes. Maybe this, maybe that, maybe the other thing. Too general of a question.
If you only drink a cup of coffee with milk and then some tomato and beef for dinner and you eat once a day and you need to heal, maybe you just need to start splitting that into several meals per day to actually increase your amino acid uptake and speed that healing up.
Although, quite right, potentially, but there is also at least one paper that's been published recently that suggests there is really, in effect, no upper limit to the ability to uptake amino acids from any one given meal. Maybe.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah.
I haven't heard about that before. So.
No, it's a new one. I can't remember the reference, obviously, but if somebody has that to their hands, they can...
I would like to see that.
Yes, I'll see if I can find it for you later.
Good. What about salt? Should we eat just salt to taste or put it in our water? What if you've got high blood pressure? How much salt? Thank you.
Salt to taste, yes. If you've got high blood pressure, I would need to talk to you to establish what the likely cause of your high blood pressure is, because blood pressure management is multifaceted. And there might be a number of things we need to correct in order to get you back on track. So that's that link under the show notes there, bit.ly, etc. Click on Patreon membership for consultancy. That's the cheapest way to go. And sign yourself up for an ongoing monthly membership to my consultancy tiers. They're called discussion tiers because I'm not really giving advice. I'm just telling you what I would do in your situation.
Very nice. We have one more question on the super chat.
Very good.
Then we're done.
Lovely. That's not it.
No, because everything just jumped. What the hell?
Motherfucker. Try it again.
Well, I can't fucking move the stream now.
Yeah. Click on it again. And then it will start moving again for you.
But I think this was the one that I wanted to click on.
All right, well, okay.
Yes, it was.
Right, so it's not a super chat, it's just a standard question.
Yeah, I said
That's
one
fine.
more question and then a super chat, but now we have 3 super chats. So hang on, we have 3 more super chats.
No, right, yeah, good, right.
Which robust scientific disciplines succeed where nutritional science fails? In other words, what are prime examples of the scientific method being applied accurately?
Much of the animal model-based research is pretty good in terms of the appropriate level of numbers of participants, tenure of a study, statistical power, etc., and proper controls, precisely because animals in research are not considered to be of equal value to humans, and as such, it's not necessarily ethically disbarred from doing harm to those animals. But you can't do the same thing with humans, because humans are not thought of as being an animal by most, even though they are. Other areas where science methodology is generally applied quite correctly: classic physics, Newtonian physics.
Okay.
Observation based on, laws of what we can expect to observe based on repeatable observations made under control, for example. Yeah.
Blah, 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 done.
There's a couple of examples, yeah.
Okay.
1
super chat. Fat burns in the flame of carbohydrate. Okay,
yeah.
Thank you.
Right. Why is it wrong? Number 1, neither fat nor carbohydrate burn in the human body. There are no flames in the human body.
How does anyone say it's wrong? I thought this was common.
That was him, her, them, they, the duck, explaining what it was they were asking, what I said was wrong previously.
Okay.
Right.
Go on then.
Okay. Fat does not burn in the human body. It is oxidized by the human body. The same is true of carbohydrates. There are no flames involved. The idea is actually based around an assertion that your metabolic rate goes up when you consume a bunch of carbohydrates. But that's got nothing to do with the amount of fat you're going to burn. It's just ridiculous. The whole idea is fundamentally totally ridiculous. There's nothing that underpins it at all. It's just someone's stupid fucking opinion, basically.
Still have 3 super chats.
Well, let's have them.
We read super chats, but no other questions now.
Right.
We're past
Only
time.
super chats.
Yeah. Which blue light blocking glasses you recommend?
I use blue light blocking lenses variously from a company called blockbluelight.com.au. It's an Australian company. You can get them all around the world from different companies, though. The main thing to make sure is that you understand what exact range of wavelengths the lenses that you are buying are blocking out. If they don't block out all the blue wavelengths, they will be less effective than if they block out all the blue wavelengths. Example, here is some I use quite often that block out most of the blue, but not all of it. And I've got another pair elsewhere that blocks all the blue.
Do these block all the blue?
No, those are also partial, but those ones have got my prescription lens directly in them.
I tried them last week and I couldn't see shit.
Because
Jesus.
my prescription lenses is...
I mean, who needs alcohol?
Nobody.
It made me want to sneeze.
Yes.
Okay, super chat.
Yes.
What should the fasting insulin be in a super healthy person? Does having sips of coffee with heavy cream keep insulin elevated? Thank you so much.
There is a reference value that you can look up for yourselves. I don't know what it is off the top of my head. It's not the kind of figure I keep in my head. Very few people actually come to me with levels of insulin. I have to actually ask them to get it done for those that need to get that done, which is very few of my clients, actually. If somebody knows what the reference value is, just chuck it up in the chat there. Whatever.
The thing with insulin is that it's so fucking hard to measure insulin because your insulin levels can change drastically within
seconds,
a few minutes. So if you just happen to take the test when literally you've released a lot of insulin because it's released in bursts, then your insulin value is going to be higher. So the only thing you can get out of a lab test for insulin is basically what happened in that moment. If it's super high, chances are that you do have a problem with insulin, but if it's just kind of a little bit high, you might not actually have an issue. Or you might have a big issue, but it was low right now. So it's not a good test.
Also, what effect
really.
what effect do you think coffee has on insulin, and why?
I'm not sure about that. I don't think coffee affects insulin a lot.
Directly, no, I don't think it does either.
Cream depends on how much cream you consume, I suppose. But when I did my little cream experiment, when I ate just cream, whipped cream, my blood sugar dropped. Didn't drop. My blood sugar was stable. When I ate whipped cream with some stevia in, my blood sugar dropped. That's how I know that there was an insulin response to the stevia, not the cream. But
very good.
Yeah.
Good.
That's going to be individual anyway, so you just need to figure out how you react to things.
Right, last question for the day.
Yes. No, we had 2 super chats still.
Two more still.
Yes.
Okay, Jesus.
They keep coming, so...
Well, you keep super chatting us, we'll sit here all day.
Yeah.
Oh, well, anyway.
Processed meat, well, I have to meet Harry in half an hour.
Yeah?
Processed meat tends to contain phosphates. How dangerous is that stuff? Thank you.
Depends. Depends on how much of it you have. Like everything, it's the dose that makes the poison.
Yeah, if you live on processed meats, maybe it's not ideal.
Not so good, yeah.
All right, for now, this is the last super chat.
Right.
Question, if we evolved outside, why is blue light harmful?
It's not during the day. When it was around as we evolved. At night time, the blue light goes away. And if you then fool yourself by letting blue light, artificial blue light into your eyes, that screws up your body's ability to know what time of day it is. That messes up your circadian rhythm. That messes up your inflammasome, your hormones, your endocrine system, fucks your sleep up. It's really not a good thing at all.
No.
It's all around the melanopsin receptor in your eyes.
So there you go.
Right, good.
We are finished.
Very, very good indeed.
Oh.
Ready for action.
Okay, what's the action?
Well, we need to sing a little song.
Oh, Jesus.
You can block your ears if you like.
I shall just end the broadcast.
No, you shouldn't, because that's against the rules.
Right, I'll sit back here,
Right.
so I'm maybe not hearing so much.
All right, so the national anthem, and it goes something a little bit like this. Steak and eggs and steak. That's what you should have for your breakfast. Delicious. Eggs and steak and eggs. Just making sure you heard.
Fuck off now.
Bye.
Bye.